interview segment, and Mr. Goodluck Godwin Yahi. He's the founder 0410 Consult, where they have the Book the Kids Again initiative. He's here to tell us how Nigerian children can once again, get back that reading culture for a secured future. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you so much, Joe.
It's wonderful to have you. What would you say our reading culture is at the moment? Not just children, but everyone.
Thank you, viewers. We're going to rate it from 1 to 10. I think we're below 5.
Below 5? That is not a good thing.
It all depends on when you time reading. It's not just for you to just flip through the pages, but for you to read and understand what you're having.
Right.
Yeah, so below 5. But if you're talking about just flipping through, then maybe a little bit above 5.
When did we get to this point where, or why did we get to this point where our attention level is so low?
It has to do with people who are just trying to be on the fast lane, trying to get things done, and then listening to what people say and not what you, not discovering yourself. You know, I'm from the North, and here in the North, you have all these, they call them the security men, having radios to their ears, listening to what people say to them, and they've been educated, they've been informed. So people got to that stage when technology came, and you just get being informed of something, but you don't get to know the details about this information. So that's when we started losing it.
And are you afraid that we are getting very superficial with everything? Important things are just glided over because you haven't really read everything.
Yeah, I'm afraid because you get to say what people have informed you about, not what you know about. That is something that is really scary. People tell you from their point of view about certain things, but if you read, you get your own point of view and your own initiative, and it helps you to know better and be more informed. People might tell you things based on how they perceive a certain situation, but you have to read to know where they're getting such information from, and then you can build your own ideas about certain things. And that's one of the reasons why we came up with the initiative, Book the Kids Again. We just want kids to go back to know things for themselves, not what people tell them. Yes, people can tell you certain things, but if you have those information, you'll be able to cipher to know what is true, what is just, what is pure, what is acceptable to all.
Have we done enough? Because I know there are e-books and a lot of children are, I don't want to use the word trapped, or they are constantly face down in their tablets and their phones at the moment. So have we become contemporary to meet them halfway with interesting contemporary books that addresses the things they can see? Some of us read everything. It didn't matter the year, the time, and all that, or the genre. But have we met them there?
When you say have we met them there, are you saying the developing countries or you saying developed countries?
I'm talking about Nigeria.
Okay, Nigeria. We've not really met them at that spot, because if you find out what our kids read these days, they read what is really happening in the Western world. That is where they get most of their information from. And you can use that to apply to
what's happening here,
because it's a lot different. So if we're able to get information from within us, it will help them to understand who they are, what their country is all about, and how things are being done properly well. So meeting them, I would say no, because we've not really shown them what information they should have and how they should go about getting this information. The e-book thing, I would say, in the age where we are today, we see kids, it's a mixed feeling. I'll put it this way, a mixed feeling. You know, these days you find out that any kind of job the kids do these days, is it being photography, is it being learning how to sew, is it being one or two things, they make money out of it. They make good money out of it. And that's what our parents were doing. Our parents did this. And that was before we came in. But during our time, nobody wants to be a tailor, nobody wants to be a
Yeah.
mechanic, nobody wants to be a photographer or something. We all want to go and read books, we all want to be a doctor, an accountant, and the rest. But see, we're going back to those days. So since we're going back to those days now where kids are being photographers and musicians, you can imagine kids being musicians, kids being footballers and everything, and making
Right.
money out of it. So how do we fuse the past, the present, and the future with these kids? That's why we're looking at this. So the ebook thing would not really work for our kids. I have my own feelings about that. I believe the hard books work, and I'll tell you.
I believe that too. I
Yeah.
still struggle with the electronic books and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because there's something about you having a very good book. You hold a very good book. It kind of connects with your soul. You kind of be in a different world when you have such book. But when you have the ebook, where there are distractions that come as you're reading, something just flips by, and then before you know, you're distracted, and
True.
before you get back in, you're lost, and then that's just it. But with a hard book, you can't be distracted. I said maybe that's a phone call or something else. Yeah. So we've not met them. Let me just answer that question. We're still in the process to meet their needs, meet them at where they're supposed to be.
So let's talk a bit about the 0410 consult. What
Yeah.
do you do?
0410 consult. If you look at our objective and everything, the registration with CAC, we're more trying to create an awareness about certain things, an awareness about life itself, an awareness about how things should be ideally. We cannot resolve all issues,
That's true.
that's for sure. And Nigeria is a place where if you find solution to one problem, the next day that solution becomes a problem. So we cannot resolve all issues. But the best we can do is to do our best and try and let it be that something was done to address this issue. That's why 041 concept came about, 10 came about. We're trying to we're not trying to talk about politics, we're not trying to talk about religion, we're not trying to talk about anything, because these are things that try to distract
Just-
and
and
try to
divide
bring
us,
division
right.
among us. We're trying to go to the root. What are these roots? Family, community, and in this family and community, what brought them together? Books. You find out maybe a family, someone in the family is well read and has gone abroad to school and everything and come back, the whole community celebrate him. And why do we celebrating him? Because he's well read, because he has developed his brain, and people look forward to, this guy can do this, I can do this as well. While growing up, I found out that when I get into, a library, we had this public library where I was, and when we get in there, we see a lot of books, and we're like, oh, what's in this book? Let's see what this book really has. So it
Exactly.
takes us to like a different world. Like, this is where this is. So
Yes.
this can be like this, and so that main reason why we came up with 0410 consult. We're trying to also be a voice where we can address issues with the National Assembly if the need
Okay.
arises, and not political issues. Let's resolve that. It has to do with issues that has to do with family and community. We
Okay.
believe that we're losing that, and we need to get back to that.
That communal life we all lived in,
Yeah.
with no fear of the next person.
No. I mean, we're all one. We see ourselves as brothers and sisters. You know, the honest truth is, until we get back to that, we can never know our true identity.
Okay.
And that's what one of the issues again. What
How
we're
are we
looking at.
going to get back to that when there are long fences? And when you say you're engaging the legislators, what would you want to be
When I
legislated?
say we're engaging the legislators, when they call for like an open house discussion on issues, we'll ensure that we're there.
Okay.
And then when they call for certain things, we'll ensure people are being educated about it. So
Okay.
you know the kind of questions you're going to ask. We ensure that these informations are passed, and then you know the details about it, not what people tell you.
Exactly.
So once you have the details, you'll be able to ask the right questions and make the best use of time.
True.
That's what we intend to do, so that the legislators won't say, well, we called for open house and
And
people
nobody
came,
said anything.
and nobody said anything, but you know what to say and how to address those issues. That's the aspect of engagement I'm talking about with the legislators. And then when you say something about high fences and all that, dividing our community, no matter how high the fence are, the kids still go and they meet somewhere in school, in religious houses, or somewhere, parties and the rest. How do we get that culture to say, this is how we do our thing? So the school is one of our ambassadors that we're using. That's why the book The Kids, we're using the school.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to anybody. We're using the school to get this together. This program comes up on the 4th of, I hope I'm allowed to say this. I'm not advertising, I'm just saying it. We have an event on the 4th of October in the school premises where we're bringing kids, 5 private schools in Abuja, who come together and they have an understanding about themselves. Read Nigerian books, not any foreign book. We want to start from home. Read Nigerian book, talk about what lessons you've learned from it.
Like a small book club.
I don't see it as a book club. You know, I try as much as possible not to talk about books. There are a lot of book clubs in town.
I would love to join one. I haven't seen.
There are a lot of book clubs in town. I've seen one or I've heard about one or two, and I've visited one or two.
Okay, that's good.
And there are a lot of book clubs in town. They have their own areas of where they go to.
So what makes this different?
What makes this different is that you're not just coming to listen to a book being read to you.
Okay.
We want you to be in your home and get these books to read and understand this book. There's a platform where you share your thoughts and people share their thoughts with you. You know what happened in social media? Something has been posted and people talk about it, and then before you know it becomes viral. We're talking about a particular thing that affects you. There are a lot of kids who don't know the history of Nigeria. So we're trying to see how we can bring out snippet of this history and put them out there. Then you talk about it and then you feel, oh, this is where I belong to. You know, Nigeria is a very, very funny country. I will say this. We call them the black Americans or so. Let me talk about the black guys out there, even foreigners. They want to come back to Nigeria. They want to know what country is Nigeria, what's in that country. They can't get back to their roots. But we here want to go out there. Want to say, I know there's more to it than, I don't get there like, oh, this is not what we were told or something like that. So what they're looking for back home here, there's a lot here. I mean, we have it. We have a country that's truly blessed. I will say it. I'm blessed to be to a lot of places, and I can tell you the honest truth: home is home.
Home is home.
True.
How do we get this patriotism back? Because, like you said, a lot of them will look at us and see the nature, the arable land. They appreciate so much that we have, but we just want to be out of here. So, how do we get Nigerians more committed to, you know, developing our country and you know, getting those potentials that we have?
Let's stop comparing. Let's stop comparing things. You can't say, I have this in this country, we would have it back home here in Nigeria. Let's grow our own. Let's be pathfinders. Let's do things that people will copy from us, not we copying from them.
With the peculiarity of our people.
Yeah, I know. You know, that's what it says. There's beauty in diversity. If you say you're someone from the south, you have a particular thing you do, and I love what you do. I want to come learn from you. And then you have from the north, you have particular things you do. I want to come learn from you. While we were growing up, there was beauty in diversity while we were growing up, and we always wanted to go see the next culture, and wanted to be part of it. So what is yours is yours.
And there was that tolerance.
Yeah, there was.
How did we lose that too?
Our leaders wanted, they felt the only way they could have control was to divide us.
Wow.
And because of the selfish nature of most people, they were able to succeed. The ones that do these things are few, but many out there are united. I'll say to you, they are, but if you cause this division among us, and we need to work together to get the fusion back so that we can defeat them, and we can.
We honestly can, and I like that. But going back to the books right here, are they even available? It seems like, do we still have those authors who were revered? I remember if you stumble on a writer of a book back in the day, you wanted him to sign your book so bad, you were so excited to tell everyone he's a celebrity, but it seems like it's not something we have focused on. The musicians, yeah, the actors, yeah, but the authors, what's happening there?
You see, back in the days, those authors and musicians and the rest were not looking for the money, but with a passion for them. something that they love to do, something
Right.
that was just coming out from them, and they were willing to give it out to people to see them, and they were pleased with people just recognizing them as this. Most of them didn't have all these beautiful houses and the rest.
True.
Good, but these days, it turned the other way. It's more of the money and the fame, and when you get the money and the fame, how do you destroy yourself? Drugs, women. I'm sorry, I have to say that, and other things. So, you see, we can get that back if we know who we truly are, if we know what we want to do. I believe so much in regulations. If various regulatory agencies are working,
Okay.
we'll get there, but they're not working.
When you say regulation, how do you want it regulated? What do you want regulated in the first place?
I believe that the content and everything of everyone
Right.
should be regulated. You don't just have the freedom to say whatever you want to say, because your right stops where.
The other person's own begins.
Thank you. So, not the kind of regulation where you deny me my freedom, but the kind of regulation where you understand that is a party, it's a win-win thing for everyone, where you respect my view, I respect your view. I remember while I was doing my youth service, I met this boy who said respect is reciprocal. And I was like, when he said it, I just laughed. Then I thought about it, like, it's very true. You
Yeah.
want me to respect you, then you have to respect me as well. So the regulators need to really up their game. They need to do their job. They need to earn what we pay them for. If they do that, I believe that we'll have a better country. I'll say this: most of the regulators are being, maybe they're being gratified by maybe what comes to them, or they'll take back home and the rest.
Right.
We don't look forward to a good name or something anymore.
A
why
good
you
name is
go-
worth that year. A good name is worth
Yeah.
worth millions. But
Okay.
before I let you go, I would like you to just answer our culture, our this beautiful diversity we
Yeah.
keep celebrating, our beautiful history. Because if we do not have authors, if we don't have writers who are interested in, capturing our history, what's the biggest threat to that? Are we losing it, or do we have young people even interested? Because it seems like there should be a target, your target readers before you go into it. Gone are the days when it's an idea you pursue.
You said our history. What history are you talking about?
Don't we have a history as a people?
We have history. It's all depending on what point of view you're looking at. You meet someone today, he tells you what history knows about Nigeria from his own point of view, and then you have others who tell you history just based on their perception about certain things. So what we are trying to do at 0410 and 0410 Consult is, like, we're trying to get readers who will become authors tomorrow.
Right.
I'm trying to create a platform where you can meet other authors, writers, and then maybe people who can sponsor your book for you. So you didn't proof it, read it well to ensure it's something worth it. You may not be able to give the true picture about the history of Nigeria, but say something that would draw people to your country. The Americans have their history, the Europeans have their history, but how often do they talk about their history? They talk about where they are, where they're going
Where
to.
they're going, right?
So we can start from there. Let's talk about where we are at the moment. How can we build on where we are and where we're going to? Let the history take care of itself.
Wow.
Since we cannot give a proper view of our history, let's talk
Doesn't
about
it come
ourselves.
together when we all, give the piece of what we know?
They call it Tales by Moonlight then when we were growing up, where they sit down, they tell the story about tortoise and the rest, folk tales that are not true. But most of us grew up with that. Tortoise days, and we had that feeling
Right.
among ourselves. So, what history do you want to tell your kid? Because if you look at it, kids born maybe in the 80s, 90s, don't know much about the history of Nigeria. So, what history do you want to tell your kids? If you take your kids to go into your grandparents or something like that, to just give them what they understand, but where are the books for this? So, what we're trying to do is not to take it out completely, but to ensure that you have an understanding of where you're coming from. And having that understanding where you're coming from is for you to know where you are at the moment and where you're going to. Let the history meet you where you are. Then you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so reading culture for a secured future. What's your last advice to parents and teachers and lawmakers listening to you?
Okay, my advice to parents, I'll use parents because I keep saying that parents are the first teachers that we get to meet, you know. So parents, my advice to parents is for them to read. You may not read to the child or something, just get a book and read.
Right.
And the kids see what you do. When they see what you do, they pick up that as well, that habit. And before you know it, it's
They
being
too
passed
would
on to
be.
one other person. So parents should go back to where they're coming from. Yes, you may say there are a lot of pressures around, but will you let go of your investment? I keep saying this, kids are investment.
True.
And all you're working for is for the best of your kids. So if your investment tomorrow does not bring out the process, the ROI, return on investment for you, you lost everything.
Thank you for that. We actually have run out of time, so thank you for doing that. Like he said, if you're a parent listening to us, would you be playing with your investment? Invest well in your children. Thank you so much for being part of the program. We've been discussing with Mr. Goodluck Godwin Yahi. He's the founder 0410 Consult, and they have the Book Day Kit in Again initiative. Again, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Joey.